Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala ashraful anbiya wa mursaleen sayyidina wa habibina al Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsani ila yawmiddin. So we'd like to welcome you all to week 7 of our course here. We're covering the book Safinatun Naja, which is translated as the Ark of Salvation, and it is covering fiqh. It is covering fiqh in the Shafi'i madhab. So there's a question. The other classes, you can find them on our YouTube page. Let me type it in there. The Kuba School, the Kuba School, and Islamic Center. And so you'll find a playlist there with Safinatun Naja, inshallah. So all of our other classes are loaded there. We completed Aqidatul Awam with this group here, alhamdulillah. We also did, not everyone here, who was on that last one? I think my daughter. We did Risalatul Jamia. We have a complete one in that. And we also did Jawhar at-Tawheed. We got about 14 videos on that, and I got to resume it, but I think I'm going to just scratch that whole thing and do it all over again. Not scratch it, some good information there. We got almost maybe up to line 50 or something, almost halfway through the book. So inshallah, we'll be resuming that, and I have a couple other courses that's coming down the line. So stay tuned, inshallah. All right, how's everyone doing?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, it's good.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay.
And you, Iman?
Alhamdulillah. It's unanimous. So alhamdulillah, either way, So alhamdulillah, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this opportunity to gather today. And so we'll continue. So your sister Zakaria, you had some questions you say is related to the class from the week before, or?
Yes. So
Okay.
we were in our Friday study group. I can't remember the other question. I'm not sure if Sister Layla or Sister Nunu will be able to remember. But we were talking about, like the impurity of the water with the bucket. So
Mm-hmm.
Sister Miriam mentioned that so if we use a bucket of water that's considered to be pure, if the water is pure itself. If we dip once we dip our hands in it to do the ablution, the water is still pure, but it's no longer purifying. She was saying something like we can't use the water again. So basically we can't re-wudu in that water. And I was wondering how that works because I remember the hadith about the water and the bucket, the river, you know what I'm saying? If you dip in the
Mm-hmm.
river multiple times, but I don't understand because it kind of confused me when she made the statement. So I wanted to ask someone of more knowledge if you could elaborate on why it's not pure anymore, but it's purifying. I guess is what is it? The tata here? Is that what it's called? Tahir
Tahor,
one?
Tahir and Tahor, a
Yeah.
purifying and a purifier. So I believe maybe I don't know. She would have to be here, but that water cannot be used like for drinking or anything else. But if someone was to use it, if it's a bucket of water and you use it for wudu, if you don't have any drops of it going back into the bucket, that water that's remaining in the bucket can still be used.
Okay, so basically, if I have a bucket of water and I wudu, you know what I'm saying, I don't re-drip any water from my limbs back into it. I can use it again.
Right.
The
That water
wudu
is still,
next time.
yeah, because it's still pure. There's nothing that changes. There's nothing that changes the state.
Okay,
But if
got
you
it.
were to drip some water back in there from your wudu, then no, it couldn't be reused.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
But so do we? So when so our hands. So what about? So I guess we can't use it then, right? Because when we wash our hands, how do we? You get what I'm trying to say? Like we use the bucket, and you know how we take our hand. We supposed to wash in between our fingers and stuff like that's the sunnah of wudu. But is that you see what I'm saying? Like if I'm trying to wash my hands, so should I dip my hand in the bucket and wipe it? And you know what I'm saying? Like how I make keep it from not being
No,
unable to
that's.
be
I mean,
used.
if you're using it in the first instance, if you're using that and then that water, that's cool. I'm talking about if somebody else use it.
Oh, okay.
No, if you yourself are doing it, no, it's okay.
Okay, got you. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from y'all little group? It's like,
It's big group. It's a big group.
alhamdulillah, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. All right. So let's do a little review from last week, inshallah. So we talked about the types of water. Anybody remember how many types there are?
3.
3 types of water. Okay, what are they? Hello?
Oh, I was waiting on someone else to answer.
Oh,
My bad. I don't want to answer all the questions.
okay.
So
Rain
is
and
it?
snow.
Well, yeah,
Rain.
two main sources. Two main sources. So water that comes from the sky and water that comes from the ground. All right. So the water from the sky is rain, hail, snow, and of course, it wasn't part of this discussion, but if there's snow, you have to wait until it melts to use it for purifying. And then you have the water from the ground, oceans, rivers, springs, lakes, well water. This is all water in its original form, and so this is water that's known as ma'ul mutlaq, purifying water, right? Absolute water. So these waters are what can be used for wudu.
I'm sorry, man. What
Go ahead.
about the water? Isn't like the fourth one the water that comes from the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's fingers?
Okay. I don't know if they used it for wudu, but it was like for barakah.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay.
pure in that sense that, because it came from his blessed hand, salam, that they use it for barakah. And I'm not
Gotcha.
sure about a narration about them using it for wudu. I'm not sure, but that's something we can look up. Oh, there was a homework assignment we had. We were supposed to look up our birth dates according to the Hijri calendar. Did we cover that?
Yeah, I posted mine already.
Okay. Anybody else get their date?
No,
Zachariah helped me get mine.
I didn't do it. I need help doing that.
Okay. Well, inshallah, y'all little group or big group, say y'all can all go over it, inshallah.
I
So
smell
yeah,
some hateration in here.
yeah, a little bit. I don't have no groups. I'm a little, out here by myself. But
We are your group. We right here. Don't
no,
be excluding
no,
us
this is
now, man.
class. This is class. A group is something special, I mean, this is something special too. But my birthday was in the 12th of Dhul Qa'dah of 1390 Hijri, which corresponds to I don't want to give my birthday out. Y'all can look it up. But the year is 1971. All right. Yeah, so yeah, if y'all want to post that, inshallah, or send me, I mean, it's not just for you to know, get familiar with the Hijri date, especially now when Ramadan is getting ready to start. And I had posted a video. I don't know if you all saw it. I was kind of giving some little details about the moon sighting wars, and I entitled it "No More Wars," because it's not really a war. It's really about either people, relying on calculations or doing naked eye moon sightings. So the video, inshallah, will clarify some of the confusion that goes on. And then when Shawwal starts, I'm gonna do another small video just for people to kind of be aware of it, inshallah. Okay, so then we talked about the amount of water to be used. The amount of water. Okay, water is abundant or a little.
A little
A
amount of
little
water.
is 2
Huh?
coolers, less than 2 coolers.
Okay, what is
Abundant
two?
is 100. Abundant is 190 liters,
Okay,
right? Or
yeah, go ahead.
2 coolers. Um, That would be probably like 5 water skins or something like that. I don't know the liters, my bad. I'm trying to remember off the top of
Okay.
my head.
So a little is I think it's between 190 and 220 liters. So that's considered about 50 or 60 gallons, or something like approximately. But I think what to fill a standard size bathtub is about 40 gallons, maybe. And so, what's the purpose of determining between a little or a lot?
So that you can know, because you have to have a certain amount of water in order for it to be purifying. And if something like Najas or something gets in it, there's certain stipulations. Sometimes certain, if it's abundant water and the taste, color, and change doesn't affect anything, like with certain types of animals or insects, should I say, that doesn't have blood. So it just kind of depends. It helps you, I guess,
Uh,
keep yourself purified, so that way you don't, because you need more, like, you don't want to use too much water and you don't want to use too little water, so it kind of gives you that right amount, that middle pathway to walk, if that makes sense.
mhm. Okay, so basically anything that's over the 2 coolers or the cooler tank, any amount over 50 gallons, if something became impure, if it came into that water will not become impure unless the taste, color, or smell changes that water. Now, anything below that amount, if something is impure that falls into that water, that water can't be used. Did somebody have their hand raised? Or was it a comment? Okay. Dhul Hijjah 1404 is mine. Okay, young blood. Okay. All right. So that's the thing about determining the amount of water. So, if you use if you use 2 coolers or less, then if something gets in that water that will make it impure, then that water can't be used. And if it's 2 coolers, or if it's more than 2 coolers, then if something falls in that that's impure, the water is still pure unless the taste, color, or smell changes of that water. Okay, good. Is that clear for everybody? Or
Yes, that's clear.
and the amount is
Yeah.
good because it really gives you a lot of leeway. It gives you a lot of leeway because obviously we're not using the minimum amount, which is a lot. 50, 60 gallons. Nobody's using that for wudu, and maybe not even for ghusl. Okay, we talked about the sources of water, and we talked about the water that is tahor, that is pure and can purify. And so that from those 2 sources of water, any water from that is tahor, it is pure and can purify things. So it can drink and can also use for cleaning and all of that kind of stuff. And then tahir water is what's called pure and it's clean, but it can't be used like for cleaning or stuff like other things. And so the example we gave was like sugar water, coconut water. Those are pure waters, but the sugar changes the pureness of the water. It could still, you could use it for something, but you can't use it for purification. And then water becomes impure or najis if the taste, color, or smell changes, except in a few instances. For instance, if water has been sitting for a while, say like you have water that sits in the sun and it starts to change the color a little bit, that water will still be pure because it's not affected by a change by, it's a natural change. Good. You got a question, sis?
Yeah, that got me to thinking about the statement you mentioned, and not the last class, but the class before, I think it was, where you said Imam Shafi'i, rahimahullah, said that not to use hot water that's set in the sun. Is
Mhm.
that because of the change? Because if it sits too long, it may change the color. Is that the reason why? I can't remember why you said that.
No, I think
Why
it
you
was
mentioned?
because I think of the way it can affect your skin.
Oh, the
You
affects your
can,
skin.
yeah, like so, we talking about people who lived in hot climates, so if you're using hot water, it's like, you know, that water would be like a change of skin color and stuff like that. So it's
like burning or something.
yeah. So and it's the same
Okay.
way when we make wudu. You don't make the water too hot. You make it where you can stand it.
Okay.
All
Gotcha.
right.
Thank you.
Okay. So water that is natural, the taste, color, smell changes, then that water cannot be used. All right. Any questions from the week before besides the ones we already discussed? No questions? Okay.
No
So,
questions.
okay. So we'll
Oh, did you want to share the ones I sent you? Those questions I sent you, remember? Did you
no,
figure out my other answer yet?
I didn't get to them. So I had to go back. I was just about to say that. Okay, but let me get my presentation together. All right. So today we're going to talk about ghusl and the requirements of ghusl and the obligations of wudu. All right. Let's go. And so for those who have the book, I think this is section about ghusl. What page is it?
It's page 6. It's page 16. The towards the bottom.
Where
It
can you
says
buy the book?
I
I
had to
bought
see.
mine on Amazon. So I'll send you the link, inshallah. I'll post it in a little bit,
Okay,
inshallah, in the group.
okay. So the book that I sent you all,
I
it's
can't
on
I
page
can't copy
16.
it. It will not let me copy. I
You
I'll
say
can't
send
you
it to
can't
you.
copy
I
the
can
book?
send it to you.
I cannot copy the book.
Okay.
I tried.
I'll send you the PDF because I had trouble with it too, and I had to download it a different type of way to get the book before I
Uh-huh.
actually got the hard book. So I'll send you the PDF where you're able to download it, and send you the link where you can actually purchase the
Bye.
real book too.
All right. Shukran, sister.
Afwan.
Okay. Where am I? Okay. Okay. Here we are. So ghusl, ritual bath. Can everybody see that? So here in this section, the Sheikh says the section, the things that make a ritual bath compulsory are 6. And so I just kind of copied the part here that we're covering. So the first one is the insertion of the head of the penis into the vagina, and 2, the discharge of semen. So there's 4 other things, but I want to cover these real quick. Everybody can see that, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you got it. Don't it looks like these are the footnotes though?
Okay.
Like you're
This is
showing the footnotes instead of
okay.
not
It's
the
not.
actual section like you do.
Oh, it's not previous. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see something.
I don't see it. Mine start with ritual bath becomes wajib even in the case of
Yeah,
a
those are the
dry birth.
footnotes in the book, sis.
Um,
Yeah,
Okay.
those
Do
are
y'all
the
see it
footnotes.
now?
No, we still on the footnotes. It's fine.
No, it's not fine. Hold on. That is not fine. Hold on. Let me finish. That is not fine. That is not acceptable.
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Okay. Let's go.
Sister Fatima, I just posted the book in the other sisters group, so you should be able to click on that and
inshallah.
be able to read it, inshallah.
Inshallah. And my name is Fahima.
Okay.
Fahima, I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
apologize.
That's no problem, sister. None
Okay.
at all.
There you go. Okay. So the sections on ghusl, the ritual bath. The section, the things make a ritual bath compulsory are 6. Number 1, insertion of the head of the penis into the vagina and the discharge of semen. Okay. So, and the footnotes is very interesting because we'll get to that part.
It
So,
disappeared.
Now you see it?
It disappeared now.
Yeah,
Y'all don't
it's
see it?
there. He just went to the next slide, sis.
Okay. So here in the author, he put mujib or the mujibat of ghusl, right? And so something that is mujib, it means that something that causes something else to become obligatory. And so what it means is that these things, for the ghusl to be obligatory, these 6 things have to occur. And also, you can also make ghusl at, at any time. It doesn't have to be an obligation. You can make it as, I mean, I know people who make ghusl every day, but in order where it becomes an obligation that you must do it, these 6 things have to occur. All right. And so the next thing they mention here, the head of the penis into the vagina, even if there's no discharge. So in the book, if you go to the footnotes of this section, because fiqh talks about very explicit things, talks about very explicit things, and so in the footnote it mentions. Let me get to it. If anybody wants to read it, it's footnote 21.
21 or 20?
No, 20. I'm sorry, footnote 20.
Okay. Bismillah. Insertion of the head of the penis into the front or back private part of a male or female human or animal, adult or minor, living or dead, will necessitate a ritual bath.
Okay, so hearing all of that, it might come to mind like, what the hell? What's all that
Wait,
about?
that's what I'm about to. I got a question just based off reading that.
Okay, well, this is the next thing I wanted to say. When we talk about fiqh discusses possibilities as well as actual occurrences. So,
What do you mean animal?
well, the fact that it's a possibility, not saying that it's halal. It's not saying it's halal or that it's that you can do it, but if the possibility that it occurs. So you think about these scholars are thinking about all of these scenarios and what could possibly happen, and so they wrote it in their books. So now we are, hundreds of thousands of years later reading this stuff and be like, okay, if this was to occur, then like just say for instance, if a Muslim did something like that, then they would have to they would have to make ghusl. As weird as it seems, because fiqh can get really intricate with some things where you'd be like, okay, questions arise all the time that might not seem normal, but fiqh is a means to find a way out for the worshiper. So it means the understanding of Islamic rulings, right? But it means that there is a way out for the situation for the worshiper using the foundations of fiqh, the Quran, the Sunnah, Ijma, and Qiyas, right? So some of the things that you hear about, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's applicable, but these scholars would, think about possibilities. Okay, you had a question, sis?
Yes. So I understand the whole animal thing because nowadays we're not surprised. You do hear about people doing things with animals. I mean, most of the time it's to clear people, but that's a whole nother subject. But my question was, okay, it says back private part. I'm not understanding that because I thought that anal sex was not permissible. So what does that mean by back private part?
It means the same what it says, the back private part, but it's discussing possibilities.
Right.
Because for the fact that the Prophet ﷺ forbade anal sex, it's a possibility that somebody can break the law. You follow what I'm saying?
Understand?
Right.
So it's something that exists. It's something that could occur. And so if somebody does that, then a ghusl will be required from them. And not saying that it's a regular occurrence, but you think about the mind of fiqh scholars, and they, for instance, I think we mentioned it here, or I'm not sure, Imam Abu Hanifa, one of the 4 imams, he used to discuss, he used to have a committee of scholars, and they used to call them the what ifers. Yeah, you all ever heard this?
No.
So
No.
Imam Abu Hanifa, he used to have a panel of scholars, of fuqaha, that he was training them, and they used to go over all types of scenarios and what would be the ruling concerning it. And so there was a time where he talked about how would a person pray if they were suspended in air. And at that time, there was no occurrence of people being suspended in the air. But now we have flights, right?
Oh, wow.
You on a flight of a 12 hours, 5 hours. How do you pray? So these minds were great, and they were talking about possibilities of things that didn't even occur yet. So that's the purpose of this section. The scholars talking about, okay, it's possible for someone, even though it's haram. I mean, we know this in our own lives. Some could be haram, but it's possible for us to do something haram.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still a
That's
rule
true.
connected
That's
to it,
true.
you know? So that's all that is.
Okay.
All right. Okay. The next thing is we need to talk about when he talked about the seminal fluid or the mani. There's three types. There's the two types basically, mani and madi, right? And so the seminal fluid that exists with force or ejaculation, that is the one that is requires a ghusl, right? And so the madi is pre-seminal fluid that doesn't exit with force, and that can be through arousal. And so even these things that are seemingly as Muslim, you don't. These are things that are like, this is like pillow talk, but this is something that someone needs to know when these things happen. All right. And so here, the mani requires a ghusl, and the madi requires a removal or raful hadaf, or so you're removing the impurity. And so that pre-seminal fluid, that is not caused by a forceful ejaculation, that can just be clean, and the person can make wudu. A ghusl is not required. Okay. Somebody had a question or comment?
You literally just answered it.
Okay, cool. All right. And so it's important to know these things, because I mean we don't want to get too much discussion on that. It's just like
I just want to ask. I want to ask a question. So the both the Mani and the Madi both require ghusl.
no, the madi requires raful hadath, or removal of impurity. So if there's an instance where there's a pre-seminal fluid that exists, you would just have to clean that area where it is, and wudu would be sufficient. But if it's an ejaculation, that would require ghusl.
Okay.
You follow me?
Yes.
Say
Okay.
that again. The Arabic. I see it right here. That's the one you talk. Can you pronounce it
The
for me
mani,
again? No, no,
mani.
no. After the mani, the
Raf al hadath.
Raf ul hadith.
Yeah, raf al
Hadath.
hadath.
Oh, okay.
Is it the big H or a little H?
Yeah, the hard H. Raf al
Okay, got
hadath. Yeah, raf al
hadith.
hadath.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Any questions on that? Okay, no question. I'll go to the next slide. Okay, then here continued the things that require a ghusl: menstruation, which is haid, postnatal bleeding, childbirth, wilada. Postnatal bleeding is called nafas. Childbirth is called wilada, and death is maut. All right. So these things, in addition to the other two, that a ghusl is required. All right. And so let's go to the next. Uh, let's go to the next slide. Somebody had a question?
Yes. So when you say death, that means the washing of another person's body.
The
Yes.
shrouding, right?
Okay.
Not the shrouding, but just the ghusl on the body itself. The shrouding is something different. We're going to cover that in the next slide.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
I think I think one of my questions that I had inboxed you has to do with like the administration. So I think I wanted to just ask it again so that way everybody can know. I was saying that the for the ghusl, I know the ghusl deals with the outer portion of us being clean. And it's different, and istinja is different for instanza. So
It's
I know
in
that
that.
most
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Say it. Oh, yeah.
and then so the males typically they say most of the time males do the instanza. Am I saying it right? It's tinza, which is when they make sure that there's no excess of discharge of urine and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
we as women, and we supposed because you want to make sure that nothing else from inside can come out, I guess it's to say. So with the woman, we have our menstrual, some of us still have menstrual cycles. Now not utilizing the dish that's made from the store-bought dishes, like because they have those already chemical things in there, and that wouldn't be considered to be water that's purifying for us. If we buy, like, you as women, we can buy dish bags, like an individual dish bag from the store, and we can put our water or whatever we like to use inside of it. So if a woman after her menstrual cycles, sometimes our uterus, the lining sometimes still has dry blood and things like that in our internal, and sometimes it may come out here and there, right?
Mhm.
So with that being said, if it's before we do the ghusl, the actual ghusl in the shower, it's okay to do the douching just with regular water to cleanse your inside out, just to make sure that you remove the dry blood and anything like that, right?
You
That's okay.
actually,
Should we
yeah.
actually do that as women? Like, that should be something, because I mean, I know that istinza is technically for the male, but we have menstrual cycles where we need to make sure that we are cleansed internally as well. And after intercourse, it's a good idea, by working in OBGYN, it's a good practice not to use the actual dish from the store, because that messes up the woman's natural pH balance, but to use like the dish bag and cleanse yourself with water, because after a while, your inside can smell by not cleansing it. If I'm trying to keep it PG, you know what I'm saying, that kind of way.
Mhm.
So that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely, because you were initially using the purifying water to cleanse. So, and so that's just an added part as a supplement, and nothing wrong with that. The same way we mentioned about if you when you're making it, when you're using the bathroom and you're cleaning your private parts, if you're using water and using toilet paper, if someone was to use wipes, which a lot of us use these days, that's fine, but as long as pure water is involved in the process. You
Okay.
had a question, Sister Amina? Oh, or not? Okay. All right, so let's go to the next slide, inshallah.
Oh no, I was talking. I'm sorry. I hit mute.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
no, go
So
ahead.
when you making a ghusl, right? Do you have to make the wudu?
No, that's what we're going to cover right now.
Okay.
All right. Um, so here, on the next slide. So hide is menstruation. So it is from a minimum of 24 hours to a maximum of 15 days. And the average is about 6 or 7 days. You all would know better than that, better than me, you know. uh, Nifas is postnatal bleeding from a minimum of 40 days to a maximum of 60 days. Childbirth. So childbirth or ghusl is required even if there is no blood, right? A ghusl, because nifas and childbirth sometimes are not the same, right? Sometimes they're not the same. And even if a miscarriage, a miscarriage as well, a ghusl will be required. And then death. And so death of a person passes away, it is an obligation that ghusl is performed on them. And the obligation, of course, would be the crime won't be on the person who needs to be washed, but it'll be on those who don't do the washing, right? So, we often have these times where people, pass away, at least in my experience, and then they usually don't have anybody to do a janazah for them. So we always have to rally to make sure we get people, to give them their rights. And so here I put in parentheses an exception for the shaheeds or the shuhada, the martyrs on the battlefield. And I put on the battlefield because there are different kinds of martyrs, all right? And anybody know the hadith about the different kind of martyrs?
I remember reading it, but I don't remember it
I don't
like
remember
that.
the
I
exact.
remember.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact hadith, but it's like a person who drowns, or a person who has a stomach ailment and a few other things. They are considered shaheed, right? But they're not the same shaheed as someone who dies on the battlefield, because someone who dies on the battlefield, you have to bury them as they are, so they don't get any shrouding or anything or any washing. They're buried right where they are, right? And the person who dies from those things that would be considered a shaheed, you still have to perform ghusl on them. So if someone dies like from some type of stomach cancer or by drowning or something like that, then they still have to perform the ghusl. You had
But
a
if they
question?
die, but if they die in the in action of fighting the battle, then you don't have to make ghusl.
No, you don't. But
Right.
you don't wash them or shroud them. You bury them just as they are.
It says they are. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Well, you
have a
had
question. Did the angels don't the what I know one of the I forgot his name. I forgot. I'm not good with names, but I know it when I see it. I know it's Abdullah. I think his name is Abdullah Ibn something. But he was one of the martyrs on the battlefield, and the angel washed him and shrouded him. Do you remember that, Hadi?
Mhm. I
It was
do
in the
remember.
Sirah.
Yeah, I
I
do
think it was
remember.
one or two of them. Wasn't it two of the companions that died that were shrouded? I know one for sure. I know Hamza, and then it was another one outside of Hamza. Radiallahu anhu.
Yeah, I can't remember the name, but this is to relate the fadail, the virtues of those particular companions. So that
Okay,
means they had a special merit because of their contributions. But normally, no, you don't. You don't do it.
so we don't. If we fight in battle, we just bear them as they are. We don't
Yeah,
perform the ghusl.
no.
Okay, that's it. Okay,
So for that and that hadith, that was because of special merit of who they are. So you read about many of the virtues of the companions and stuff like that. So that is an indication of how, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has honored them and things like that.
okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay. And so those kind of martyrs that someone dies maybe from trying to think of what would be a stomach ailment today. I was gonna say like liver cancer.
Crohn's, maybe Crohn's or something. You think?
Yeah, something or an ailment, a sickness like that. Um, a person who died like that is shaheed in a sense, but not in the sense of a person who fought in the battle. You had a question, Sister Amina? Did you unmute?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so it sounds like you're talking about something internally, like an illness or whatever. So if a person has a heart attack, are they considered I don't know what you just said, Haida
Uh, Shaheed.
Shaheed? I don't know what I said.
I don't know that. I had to look that up. That might qualify.
Spell it. Spell it.
What Shaheed?
Yeah,
Oh, in the chat or just
you can just spell it. I'll write it real quick.
SHID or EED. Or in Arabic, it
Shaheed.
would be seen. No, I mean sheen, had the soft ha, ya and dal.
Okay, got it.
I don't know.
Okay. That's all this spelling. This ain't no spelling bee around here.
Look, you can't be throwing out words for us English Ebonic speaking folks and then expect me to just figure it out, man.
Mashallah. Okay, so these are the conditions, all right, where a ghusl is required. All right. And then there's another discussion about when for the haid or the menstruation and the fast, if it goes past those days, then it's not considered that anymore. But that's not the scope of this discussion. Okay. Okay, so the ghusl obligation, what first we talked about what requires a ghusl is the six things. Now the ghusl obligation, there are two things that are compulsory, that are wajib or furud on the ghusl. Someone had a question or comment?
It was just me typing in the chat, just asking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I got homework. I'm gonna find out, inshallah. Okay. All right, so the ghusl obligation are two. So to have the niyyah and to ensure that water reaches the entire body. Having the intention and to ensure that the water reaches the entire body. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. And so here, the intention these are two wajib acts, so they have to be done in order for the act to be performed or to be valid. And so we talked about the intention. So a person has to make the intention that if it's for wudu, they are removing hadath. And so hadath are minor impurities. What are the minor impurities?
Urine.
Gas, urine.
Urine, yeah, okay. So when you have those things, or the madhi, or we just mentioned the pre-seminal fluid, removing those things, removing what's called hadath, you have to have the intention. Or if you have janaba or its major impurities, like having a sexual discharge, haid, and all of the other things that we mentioned, childbirth, then a person has to make the intention to make the ghusl for that particular situation.
Oh wow.
You have to specify it. All right. At least in the Shafi'i school. I'm not sure about the other schools. And then if a person does ghusl for Jumu'ah and Eid, this is a Sunnah. I highly recommend it. They should still make intention for that as well.
Mm.
All right. Okay, well, there's a question or comment.
Is that the sunnah referring to women as well to make the ghusl on Fridays?
Yes, yes, yes. So I think it's, I don't know if it's other schools where they say that the ghusl is wajib. I never heard that, but in the Shafi school it is sunnah. So it is sunnah. So, and of course, Jumu'ah, the best day of the week, it is highly recommended to do it. And yeah, that's for men and women. Okay. I think I had
And that's
something.
only pertaining to Juma, which is with the Sunnah,
Yeah,
right?
Jumu'ah and the Eid, so you wear your best,
Juma.
perfume yourself. And so these are the two requirements for a ghusl, that you have the intention and that you make sure water touches every part of the body, including the creases and folds. Now, I know everybody in their mind at least got a beach body and stuff like that, but in real life, we got folds and stuff we got to move around. So when you got to move it around, you got to make sure that water touches those things. All right. Somebody had a question?
Yes.
Okay.
So when we're in the shower, like we doing the ghusl and everything like that, and we're washing, um, can we like wudu after we ghusl? Can we do? Is that just too much?
No, it's not. You can after. So as far as the ghusl itself, the two requirements that you make the intention to remove the impurity, and then you making sure water touches every part of the body, which was involved putting water over your head 3 times and then washing your right and left side. That, as a very minimum, is required for a ghusl. So if that is not in place, then it's not a ghusl, right? And so then we're going to get to the next slide. Was that clear? Or
Yes. Yes.
all right, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so now here are the Sunnah acts. I don't know if you can read that. So you begin with Allah's name, Bismillah, and you say it completely. Of course, if you in the bathroom already, you would say it silently. If you're going in or before you go in, you say Bismillah. And so you remove any dirts or impurities. So you would you would take some water, rub your hands together, and then you will remove any dirts or impurities on you. So you would clean your front and back areas or was impurities. And normally you could do this with your hands, but I hope y'all ain't doing this stuff and not using no washcloths. Because I mean I won't have no way of knowing, but if I find out, no, that's just a joke. Okay, so you would take the washcloth, and use your left hand, and you will wipe your private parts or the purities, the dirt, stuff like that. You had a question, sister?
Oh yes. I'm sorry. I'm still writing. I'm listening. You said okay. So the ghusl wudu, we ghusl by washing our body with soap, and then we rinse from right to left, and making sure we wipe our head. If we don't do that part, then it's not the ghusl.
Say that again.
So you said the ghusl is washing our body and then rinsing from like right to left, rinsing our entire body from right to left,
Right.
and
With
then make
water. With
sure we
water.
wipe our head with
Uh-huh.
water, and
Yeah.
then we can do the wudu afterwards. But if you don't do those three components, then it's not ghusl.
Right. So here we have the sunnah part. So if
Okay.
you just would just fulfilling the minimum part, you would get in the shower, you would clean your private parts, remove the impurity, you would put water over your head 3 times, making sure it reaches the scalp, then right and left. And that could be just done with water. And then after that, you probably can use soap or stuff like that because water is the purifier. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So is it done wrong if we wash our body and then
No,
use the water to rinse with the
no, you could.
soap? Do we have
There's really no tartib with that. So you can like get in, you can
okay.
show with soap, and then you can do the ghusl.
Okay.
All right. So
Thank
here
you.
now here's the sunnah way. So you begin with Allah's name, you remove the impurities first, then you make wudu. All right. Then you could pour water over your head 3 times, right? And so probably here, when you're removing the dirt and impurities and you're washing your private parts, this is probably where you can use soap. Because after you make the wudu, if you touch your private parts again, like with the inside of your palm, that in the Shafi'i school will break your wudu, unless you use like the back of your hand.
Say that again. You said
In the Shafi'i
the
school, you
palm.
touch your private parts without any barrier between it, like with your bare hands, that breaks your wudu.
Okay.
So, but if you're in the shower, you can either like touch the back of your hand with, or if you have a barrier in between it, that won't break your wudu. You follow me? So when you get to the part number 5, to remove any impurity, you might want to use your whatever you use, soap, water, and you clean the impurities with that, right? All right. And of course, first you would use some water. Water is a purifier. Then you use your soap and stuff. Then you will make wudu like you do for salat, right? Then you will pour water over your head 3 times, make sure it reaches the scalp. It has to really hit the scalp. And then you would, and it says, when it says 3 times, to remove a major hadath or hide. Okay, yeah. So you would pour water over your head 3 times, then wash the right side of your body, making sure it touches every part, every nook and cranny, then the left side. And then after that, you get out and you dry off, and you can put perfume on in there. And then here it says you could put a piece of cotton or whatever we use in current times to make sure that everything is cool. Well, you had a question, sis?
Yes. So is there an easy way around, and I'm only asking in general, is there an easy way around ghusl for the women like that gets like doobies and stuff and have a husband who's a little bit overactive?
You said doobies. What is doobies?
When you get your hair straightened.
Oh, yeah. So if you have, like if you, I'm assuming saying like if you have to make ghusl more than what would be regularly done.
Correct.
Yeah, those 2 conditions that we mentioned in the first part.
Okay.
Okay, so if you go back, these parts are sunnah, right? That your ghusl won't be invalid if you don't do any of these, like if you don't make wudu and all of that and perfume, that's okay. But as long as you remove the impurities, your head 3 times, and your whole body is covered. And that part, you probably can, if you're just doing like a basic ghusl, you can just use water. All right. You can just use water because remember, water is the thing that purifies. All right, so I went back to this slide. So, for instance, if the situation that you mentioned, okay, you got to make ghusl, but you don't have a lot of time. So you get in the shower, you remove the parts of the impurities, where the organs touch that. You move any impurities there. You will put water over your head 3 times, and then you wash your body right to left, and you can just use water. And then after that, you probably can do, the hot spots.
Okay, so you
The
don't
lateral
always have
movement.
to use shampoo to wash your hair.
No, no, no.
Okay.
The requirement of ghusl is the basic. These two things here: removing impurities, and then making sure the tension and removing impurities, and make sure water touches. That's the minimum part. All of the other parts is what the Prophet ﷺ encourages us to do. So you had a question, Sister Zakaria?
Yes. So number 9, when it was talking about, I was thinking about, and I don't remember where, I'm gonna look for it eventually, but it was talking about like put the cotton, the piece of fragrance, insert into the vaginal area. It says if the bath was taken because of menstruation.
Mhm.
Um, right? Is that the same? Well, obviously, most women can't use fragrances. Most of the time, it causes a bacterial infection. So we don't have to put a fragrance on there, right? But I don't understand. Do we necessarily have to do that part? Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know as soon as recommended afterwards, but it also says that women, we shouldn't be smelling. You shouldn't smell us. Like, we shouldn't adorn ourselves so much to where we're attracting outside the modern men. So I'm conflicted in regards to number 9 because one thing says we shouldn't be smelling all good and sexy and go outside, and then this one is like, okay, well, put some little perfume down there, like you
Yeah,
know.
well, I mean, if you put perfume down there, that shouldn't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how women do it, but it's just I don't think that would be like something. You know what I mean? That everybody's smelling when you out in the public. It's just to
Well,
make
hope
sure,
not.
huh?
I said I hope not, but I'm just saying, like, does that not? I'm trying to. I don't want to. I, it, I'm trying to understand it because if I can smell, I can't go out. I can't go outside and put on my perfume. Let's say I like to use Cool Water or whatever. I like Hot Q actually from Avon. But anyway, I can't spray that on my persons, but I can spray my hoo ha to smell good. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, because would you call it whatever
The hoo
what
ha,
you
the
call it?
hoo
Yeah,
ha.
that has to. You don't want that to be a bad smell because if you don't use on your external part, you won't necessarily smell bad. But there's something down there that can be a potentially bad smell, and then it can also be hide. Something can happen later. That you see. You follow what I'm saying? So that's the purpose of putting the cotton
Yeah,
on the perfume. So if anything comes out later, then it's not someone. You follow what I'm saying?
yeah, I got you. So
So
does that? What about is that this goes with that hadith about I can't remember, was it one of his wives or another Sahabiya that was asking, I don't know if it was the just a regular prayer or was it Eid she wanted to pray. I think you know what I'm talking about, that hadith, and he recommended the cotton ball, to insert the cotton ball into her hoo-ha. You know what I'm talking about?
vaguely,
Well, can I say something?
Sure.
yes.
If you eating right and you keeping yourself shaved down there, and you shouldn't have a bad smell, so you shouldn't need
Okay.
this.
All right. This
I
is
think
y'all got to
perfume
talk
is
about
not
this.
good.
Oh, I'm
Who?
not concerned, sis. I'm just saying from
No,
a
I'm talking about
medical
everybody in
perspective, us
general.
women, I'm good. I'm clear and under
All
control.
righty then.
Look,
Let's
I, I was just
Okay.
speaking medically, though. On a medical perspective, women shouldn't perfume themselves in that way. I'm
Yeah,
just
I
saying.
mean because the perfume that you use externally will cause attention, but down there is for just to like for purification and just to have good etiquette, because you wouldn't because if you don't use perfume externally, you don't necessarily have an odor to you. You follow what I'm saying? But down
Right,
there,
right.
it can be an odor. Okay. Yeah, so we're right at the hour mark. And I want to try to keep within the hour. I was going to let me stop sharing this. So next week we'll cover uh we'll cover the conditions of no, that was it. I think I have for this week. So next week we'll cover the conditions of wudu. All right, so we stop there. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Pardon me, I got my time mixed up. Obviously, I thought class started at 10. My bad.
Hor- Horrible.
Yeah, it is. It
It's not.
really is.
It's not
No,
bad.
no,
It's horrible.
it is horrible. It really is.
Well, mashallah, well, alhamdulillah, that's the purpose of recording, so we can go back and listen to it. So next week, inshallah, we will start with the conditions of wudu, and then we'll continue, inshallah ta'ala. All right. So any other questions before we finish up?
I do
Yeah, I
have
do
one
have
question, Iman.
Go ahead.
So, regarding the perfume, in Shafi'i fiqh, I heard, I don't know, but we're not supposed to use perfume that contains alcohol, like body sprays and stuff like that. We can only use like the oils without the alcohol.
I'm not sure. I have to look into it. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
Okay.
So it sounds
Another
like you have
homework
about 3
assignment.
homework assignments, right? Imam Fahim, you
Don't
got
be
3.
don't be clocking my homework assignments.
I'll be waiting next week.
Wait, remind me real quick. Let me, because I can. I gotta look up that about alcohol and perfume, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, mine is on your WhatsApp, so you know what the other one was.
Okay.
And then I think Sister Amina wanted to know about if having someone who had a heart attack is considered
yeah.
Shaheed.
Okay.
Let me add something too. Anyway, about the
Nah,
perfume.
that's it. You don't get to add
No.
nothing in here. You matter of fact, you go to the principal's office.
Oh my goodness.
No, go ahead, real quick. Before we
Oh my gosh. Alhamdulillah. In regards to the perfume, right? I'm an essential oil specialist. Everyone who don't know, I am an essential oil specialist. So even when it comes to perfume, whatever the answer may be, just still be mindful because those perfumes go into your cell on a cellular level. So if you are using perfume if it is permissible, you want to make sure that the perfume is vegan. Hopefully the label is not lying, but you don't want to put that into your pores. So please just be mindful when you're using the perfume. I can help you if you want to find some scents that's not going to be harmful to your body.
Oh, that was
I
a
definitely do. Inshallah.
shameless
If you,
was a shameless plug.
yeah, right.
What does
I
that
just
mean?
said send that info, sis.
You don't hear conducting business. This is class.
No.
Period. Alhamdulillah. We
No,
gotta
I'm just
support the
joking.
Muslims. Gotta support the
Yeah,
Muslims.
alhamdulillah. Yes. So are you in that group, right, Sister Candace?
On what's that?
Yeah.
I believe so.
It's Sister Zachariah, she's in the group, right? Or
Yeah, she's in the group. Sister Candace is in the group.
yeah, and also another shameless plug. If you're able to, we have our family night next Saturday. That's for local people. If you're able to, you can bring the stuff over, and do a little presentation. I mean, we already talked about that, but just a reminder.
Yeah, inshallah, I definitely have intentions to come.
Okay, yeah, you try to press that, inshallah, and then your sisters can support each other.
Absolutely.
And what's that term? Nah, let me not. They
But,
got. What's
you
that
have
term
said
you use,
something-
Sister Zachariah? What's that term you use?
Who hot? Who hot?
Okay, we'll leave it there.
But
Okay.
let me say something really quick. It's in regard to what you were saying on Friday that really stuck out to me on Friday.
Well, who was saying?
You said that when we make salah, that we have to have connection to it. It can't just be a mechanical act. We need to have connection to it, and that really stood out to me. So, shukran, Allahu Akbar for you bringing that out.
Alhamdulillah, may Allah accept it from us, inshallah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are no other questions, right? Right?
No.
Okay, good.
Just make sure you have your homework next week, or I'm coming to see you, man.
Okay, inshallah, I have my homework ready. All right, so inshallah, we'll end there. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept this from us, to forgive us for any misdeeds or shortcomings, and to make us people who are sound in knowledge and action. I mean, subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika, wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, wa nastaghfiruka, wa natubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I mean,
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Walaikum assalam.
Alaikum salam. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.